Hello, everyone. Welcome to Broadband Deployment News. Cable MSOs lost broadband subscribers last quarter for the first time as a group. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Hey, thanks for joining me. Rick Uzzi here with Broadband Deployment News. So this is something that we've not seen in that cable MSOs. You see here broadband numbers dive in Q2 2022. Combined loss is the first recorded for cable operators as a group. Pay TV subscriptions also founded during the quarter, which is not unexpected there. But in general, cable operators have been expanding their broadband customers. Cable operators by far have the most broadband subscribers throughout the country, and that's been the case for a long, long time. The telcos originally had DSL, and so a lot of them put that infrastructure in the ground, and a lot of them now are trying to overbuild themselves and rip that out and put in fiber, those kinds of things. So we've seen cable growing, and of course the pandemic had a big impact on broadband in general as people were home, realizing that, hey, I can't get by if I'm going to do work and school from home. I can't get by on just my phone. I can't get by maybe on my slower broadband connection like DSL. So a lot of them upgraded to cable. If they didn't have any kind of wired connection, they upgraded to a wired connection, generally with cable or fiber. Some with fixed wireless, I guess. But so we did see some big growth there. Maybe that kept things going for the cable operators as they were able to gain some of those customers. They may have lost some of those customers as people have gone back to work, as kids have gone back to school. Maybe those that had some fixed wireless, some cable connections went back to their cellular service, or maybe some, went to a different kind of solution based on that. And some of that may be driven by inflation because people are more price conscious now. As I've always said, people need a reason to switch service if they're going from one thing to another, especially if there's a little bit of pain and inconvenience in switching. If you've got wires coming into your home and you've got IP addresses set up and you've got all this stuff going on, if you're getting reasonable speeds, the speeds that you need, and the service is reliable, and you either don't need to call your operator because it's so reliable, or when you call them you get taken care of, then you tend to not want to switch. But if you're not happy for some reason, and the cable operators had traditionally had a terrible reputation, especially video-wise. So that could be one reason. It could be, let's say, some people might say, oh, well, they're leaving for fiber because fiber's got symmetrical service and it's faster. I don't think so. Again, unless they're experiencing pain with their current cable connection, then I don't think a fiber connection is going to make them switch unless it's going to be significantly less expensive. And there's certainly the possibility there. And I think we do see that with people jumping from, let's say, a cable connection to fixed wireless from the new 5G services that are out there on the mid-band spectrum. So we'll talk about some of this as we go through this article. Actually, there's two articles. There's two different analysts that said pretty much the same thing. So you see here again the headline. This is in BTR Broadband Technology Report. So the top cable MSOs combined lost approximately 60,000 broadband subscribers in the second quarter of this year, according to Leichtman Research Group. Overall, broadband numbers were positive thanks to 815,000 subscriber jump from fixed wireless 5G providers, T-Mobile and Verizon. So that shows you right there. They picked up a lot of business. Now, it's not all from cable, but they picked up a lot of business. Some of that could be people that didn't really have broadband at home. Some could be from DSL operators that haven't yet upgraded their network, and some of it could be from cable. In fact, someone who works for our company, one of my coworkers here, has switched from Xfinity to T-Mobile because he was not happy with the price that kept going up with Comcast. And they always want a 2-year kind of agreement or something like that. And then he wasn't really, I think, video-wise, you can get so many streaming things now. So T-Mobile in this area as well, where I am, is offering $50 a month, I believe it is, for unlimited broadband right now. I don't know how long it's going to last. Unlimited, no caps, broadband, $50 a month. It's 5G mid-band spectrum, so you're not going to get gig service on that, but you'll get fairly fast speeds over this wireless network. They send you a little router access point kind of thing that you put in your home, and then you can get broadband. And of course, if you are going to do streaming, you can do it over that. And if assuming that the service is good, and again, there's no caps, then that's $50 a month for internet. And then if you start to do streaming, then you've got your streaming costs, or if you're going to be doing fast kind of services, free, ad-supported TV, then there's no cost for that. So you can see that is, like I said, there's got to be some pain or a significant reason for somebody to switch. So if you're paying let's say $150, $200 a month for broadband service plus video service, whether that's through the Xfinity, or if it's DirecTV plus AT&T, and you're paying those two things together, and then suddenly it's like, wow, I can get $50 and I don't watch all this stuff on these channels, then that's a reason somebody might switch that price. Overall, broadband numbers were positive, as we mentioned here. It mentions that 5G, T-Mobile, Verizon, and then it mentions a overall 85,000 subscriber decline from wireline telco companies. The telco decline derived from 575,000 shrinkage in DSL subscribers, which proved too much for the 490,000 net adds via fiber to overcome. So this is, I'm sure, encompassing DSL subscribers who pitched the DSL stuff and either possibly went to a cable operator, but more likely went, let's say, to one of these 5G operators, because they could get faster speeds through 5G through somebody like T-Mobile or Verizon they could over their DSL line. And the operator had not yet upgraded their infrastructure. So then you've got this 490,000 net adds via fiber that did not overcome. So I'm sure if somebody had DSL, if they had DSL and the operator then said, hey, now we've got fiber, I would imagine they would have upgraded to that. So there were some number of people that did not do that. Put it all together, and the broadband industry saw about 670,000 net additional broadband internet subscribers in the second quarter. That figure pales to the 1 million subscribers gained during the year-ago quarter. So again, some of that 1 million may have been due to some of the later on pandemic kinds of responses of people coming home, lots of people getting on there. But still, again, the broadband industry looks pretty strong at 670,000 net adds. It's just that cable operators are dropping some, DSL operators are dropping some, and the nascent technology of 5G with people like Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile is picking up a lot of business as well. Here's a table that LRG provides for the cable providers' performance. These are just the top providers. There's lots of independent cable operators where they service a town. They might have 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 subscribers. They're not that big. And they would tend to be doing well unless, as long as they're providing good service. A lot of them don't necessarily lock customers into long-term commitments. They live, work, and play with those people in the same towns. They make sure that when they see them in the grocery store, at church, that people don't have too much to complain about. So, there's a face to that company. So I think a lot of those independent cable operators are probably doing pretty well. But the big guys, kind of the faceless ones that people like to complain about, they are having some issues. So you can see here, Comcast was showing basically flat. Charter lost subscribers. Cox was showing flat. Altus lost subscribers. Mediacom showing flat. Some of these are estimates from LRG. Altus showed a loss. As I mentioned, Mediacom. Cable One showed a slight add, and then you've got BreezeLine showing a bit of a loss as well. So again, these are just kind of your top guys, your top tiers, but this is what they're calculating on based on public information or estimates that they can make based on what is available publicly. Overall, the top broadband providers serve about 110 million subscribers, with the top cable companies accounting for about 75.6 million of this total. So again, you can see cable traditionally, almost 75% here of the broadband subscribers in the US. The top telcos serve about 32.2 million subscribers, and the top fixed wireless services have about 2.2 million subscribers. So you can see here 2.2 million subscribers, but what did they add? Was 800,000, I think we just saw a moment ago. So they're really growing their business on the 5G side. Again, I think taking advantage of situations where customers have a reason to switch. It could be these low prices they're coming in with, the $50 a month for unlimited broadband. It could be that, again, people are unhappy for other reasons with their providers, such as not good customer service, maybe outages, slow DSL, that kind of thing. And then it talks about pay TV. Yesterday on my Tech Tuesday, I talked about where pay TV is going. And, a lot of analysts say, hey, it's done with. I heard something today on Broadband Breakfast. It was a guy who was with talking about, he was with Fiberise talking about EMCs, co-ops, and how they can provide broadband services, which is true. But he was saying, really there's no reason to do video anymore, but I would disagree with that. I don't think there's any reason to do video in the traditional way, where cable operators don't do it well, meaning that they have these long-term commitments, prices are high, customer service is bad. But there is a reason, I think, because I looked at two articles yesterday. One said, there's not a future to it, and the other one said, hey, it looks like people really do like your traditional linear TV, which doesn't. I'm not talking about like your QAM-based cable TV. I'm talking about a linear-based solution. You could throw YouTube TV in that, where you've got a guide and you've got live TV programs, and you can just select and see what you want to watch. So I think people want a combination. They want the ability to watch a show that specifically that they want to watch that's not available anywhere else, like your streaming service kind of thing. But they also like sitting in front of the couch or sitting on the couch in front of the big TV, and then scrolling up and down in the guide and seeing what's available to watch. So I think there is a place for something like an IPTV solution. We have one, so make sure you check us out. I'll show you our contact info. But I think there's still a future for that. But you see here, meanwhile, pay TV subscribers took a similar tumble. LRG reports that the top U.S. companies in this space, who collectively compose about 92% of the market, lost approximately 1.9 million net video subscribers in the second quarter. And then the same time last year, 1.2 million. So you saw that escalated quite a bit. But again, people need a reason to do that, and a lot of times the reason is they're just not happy. A lot of times, I just dropped DirecTV. I still had DirecTV. I had AT&T. I got AT&T and DirecTV 3 or 4 years ago because I got a special deal. Walked into Costco, some guy flagged me down. I had Xfinity at that point for video and for my internet, and he said, "Hey, we can do AT&T fiber, and you can get DirecTV, and the price is this. It's really low, and it's good for 1 year here and 2 years there." It's like, wow, that really makes sense. And then I figured, well, I can change later if I need to. So just recently, I'd already renegotiated the price back down at some point a year ago to get it back where it was, and then they raised me again, and this time they were not going to give me the same great price. They were going to give me a little bit better, but basically I dropped them for video. I still got them for internet, and we'll see how that goes, but I think I have the T-Mobile option here if the internet goes way up. So I'm happy with my fiber, my AT&T fiber, but we'll have to see how that goes. So I did make the change of cutting some things there because of the fact that I don't like the long-term commitments and the price keeps going up. So that's one thing people hate about the cable company, is that you get locked into these things, and then they raise the price, and you got to call them to negotiate. And you don't have to do that if you have a streaming service maybe, or if your service provider, your broadband provider says, you know what, we're going to provide good service, you're going to be happy, you're going to pay month to month, and we want to keep you happy and keep you as a customer. That's really the way you should be doing business. Second quarter of 2022 marked the second consecutive quarter with over 1.9 million pay TV losses. Over the past year, top pay TV providers had a net loss of about 5,425,000 subscribers, compared to a net loss of about 4,550,000 over the year prior. So again, you can see those numbers and them kind of bleeding there. And then there's another report here. This one is New Street Research. Tips cable sub slide to continue in Q3. Cable had a rough quarter in Q2 2022 in terms of subscriber net additions, with Comcast, Charter Communications, and Altus collectively losing more than 60,000 customers. So they're drawing from the same public information. Though Q2 is a seasonally weak quarter, analysts at New Street Research say that tip cable struggles to continue. They tip cable struggles to continue into Q3 as well. So they're noting that Q2 is generally seasonally weak, but they expect it to continue into Q3, excuse me. During Q2 earnings, cable operators gave a variety of reasons for their subscriber woes, ranging from lower move activity, and that's true, the housing market is a little bit sluggish right now, to modest impacts from fixed wireless access. Modest? Well, we'll see. It looks like fixed wireless did pretty well, although again, a lot of those additions may have been from DSL. However, executives insisted their cable product continued to perform well against the competition for so-called jump balls, or kind of competing with somebody on the court there, and maybe a relatively even match. However, again, I don't think people would leave if they've got one of these major MSOs. Then they've got more than likely pretty good service if they're getting DOCSIS service, cable modem service. Now, some of these major guys have DSL, and that's a different story. But if you've got cable internet, and and people are looking at it, they need a reason to leave. And I don't think speed, if they're getting good service from their cable operator, or frankly, symmetrical service is going to make the difference. I still don't think that symmetrical service, somebody's going to say, oh, I've got good service with my cable operator, but wow, I can get the same speed up that I can down over here. I don't think that's a reason for somebody to leave. It's just a marketing checkbox, and in the future there may be, the uploads as things get different, metaverse or something like that. Maybe it'll make a difference. I don't think so now. So again, I think it's either price situations or it's that they're really unhappy for one reason or another. Maybe their 2-year agreement is up, they're tired of that whole thing, and they then jump ship at that point. And then let's see here. But New Street analysts argued cable's share of gross additions has fallen substantially since reaching a peak during the pandemic, as fiber and fixed wireless have gained ground. And again, everybody gained ground during that period, especially cable, but you see fiber and fixed wireless. More people are putting fiber in the ground. That's part of it. Specifically, cable's figures has plunged from 74% of gross adds in Q2 2020 to 61% in Q2 2022. With share of gross additions well below market share of 69%, cable is losing share. Fixed wireless broadband and fiber added close to 1.2 million subscribers between them in Q2, while cable and DSL lost 0.6 million. Cable's been losing market share at an accelerating pace since fourth quarter 2021. DSL market shares have been steadily losing. Just as soon as somebody can find somebody to switch to from DSL, they will do that. The firm predicted this trend would hold in Q3 and ultimately estimated cable would lose around 55,000 subscribers in the quarter. Fiber and fixed wireless were forecast to add an estimated 1.37 million customers in Q3, and New Street tipped cable's losses to improve substantially to 4,000 customers in Q4, but not disappear entirely. So this is not completely unexpected. With fiber coming out, we're going to see people switching from cable to fiber. We're going to be seeing fiber just getting these ads. I think a lot of these ads are going to be from where they're overbuilding their own DSL plant or overbuilding areas where maybe you've got no service provider, so you're going to be adding people there. There's not a lot of people, fiber is by far expanding the most in areas that are greenfield or that don't have good broadband now. So I think that may be what we're seeing. In order to get back to positive net additions, New Street said cable needs to boost its share of gross additions or improve churn relative to competitors. One way to improve churn is to provide better service and get rid of these long-term commitments. But the analysts warned, we don't see SOGA improving without a material change. What was that again? SOGA, that's a new one on me. SOGA, share of gross additions. We don't see share of gross additions improving without a material change in product or price relative to the industry. That's another thing. If they're overpriced, if that's a significant enough difference, people will jump ship there. Cable is playing catch up to fiber on product. We hope they don't cut price. We don't see a clear case for improved churn relative to the industry either. Well, I would say that we hope they don't cut price. This is an analyst looking at earnings, but I mean, if a fiber provider comes in at a low price and they're offering more and the cable operator is overpriced, then they're going to have to cut price, right? Looking at a couple of comments here. So Steve says a lot of these losses are due to prices and quality of service. I would agree with that. These prices go up, and again, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to subsidize the low prices that are offering people on the early term, like for 1 year, 2 years, and they're giving people these special deals, and then they have to jump that way up, and they're trying to balance the two. I don't think that works. Conway Fan 98, I wish I had the option to switch from DSL to cable or fiber, still patiently waiting for a fiber build with Charter. And I think last time we chatted on here, you said they were inspecting the poles, which was good news for you, I think. That probably means that they're doing the walkouts and make-ready work to make sure that the poles can accept a new fiber operator, whether that's the pole owner or whoever might be leasing that space from them. So that sounded like good news for you. But yeah, I think this is the issue that we're seeing here, is that the cable industry is basically stuck in the model that they've been in, especially these large operators. They've really made some significant improvements in their network. So they, speed-wise, they're more reliable than they used to be. They're not as reliable as fiber. There's no doubt about that. But they're more reliable than they used to be. The speeds have gotten a lot better. They still don't have symmetrical. It's not easy to do symmetrical on a DOCSIS plant. You've got to do full duplex. But again, symmetrical is not that big a deal for people. They're if they're at home and they're surfing and they're able to stream what they want to stream, they don't have any issues there, then that's not going to be a reason to switch. Now, if it's not reliable, if the service goes down a lot, that's going to be a reason to switch. And if the price is too high and you've got this big bundled package, like I said, you might look at other alternatives. So I think that's some of what we're seeing here. Thanks for joining me. As I mentioned, if you're interested in video, I did something yesterday on Tech Tuesday about video and what's, I think, the future of that. IPTV, versus, let's say, traditional pay TV models. I'll go ahead and link to that in case you're interested, but check us out. Give us a call or send us an email if you're interested in that, or any of the services that we provide. So don't forget that we provide managed broadband services, whether you need help with activating your broadband devices, hosted email, voice over IP, hosted voice over IP service, a hosted IPTV service, broadband diagnostics. What else? End user support 24/7. We do that. We've got all kinds of service providers where we pick up the phone when their customer has a problem and we deal with it. So we do all those things for you. Thanks for joining me, and I will be back next time for Broadband Deployment News. Take care. Bye-bye.